I've just realized that Ice Planet Barbarians has been sitting face out this entire video. Hey besties, and welcome or welcome back to my massive forehead. If you're new here, I'm Sophia and I love reading romance books. Now today I debated about doing this video for like a good month. Like as soon as the first one that I saw popped up, I was like, I kind of want to do that, but I've only read like 30 books. But you know what? I put that aside. I said to myself, like, I actually want to have something to look back on at the end of the year and like maybe in a year's time. And so I have decided to film my mid-year check-in tag, my mid-year wrap-up, my mid-year freak-out, whatever it is. So I have a few questions, a few statistics, and a bunch of books on my bed, which I can't wait to tell you about. So yes, my Goodreads goal, I set it for 65 books this year because I had it at 60 last year and I think I read 63. So 65 seemed like a achievable amount while still being like realistic. But I have, as I just said, only read 30 books towards that goal. I am like 3 books behind schedule, potentially 4 by this point, but we move, it's okay, I'll catch up. Some more Goodreads statistics for you. I've read 12,115 pages, which I don't know if that means anything to you. It doesn't really mean anything to me. It's kind of cool to think that I've read that many pages so far this year, but it's also like, is that it? The average book length that I've read this year is 403 pages, which is kind of surprising because I've basically just been reading romance, but there does seem to have been a theme recently in contemporary romance that books are getting longer and longer. They're pushing 400, 450 pages, and I think, you know, sometimes it's warranted, but maybe we need to scale it back a little bit. My most shelved book so far this year comes as no surprise. It is A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J Maas. Something ridiculous, like 3 million people have shelved that book, and I don't think that's gonna get topped by the end of the year because 3 million, that's insane. And my least shelved book so far this year is Come Morning Light by Charlotte Day, which is an arc that I read. Oh, and my average rating is 4.3 stars, which is kind of surprising. I've had some really good reads this year, but I feel like I've had some pretty bad ones as well. Maybe it's just my like generous heart giving 3 stars to books that I don't like. Should I just expose myself? Let's move on. We are kicking off this video very strong with my favorite reads of this year, and something you will notice about me as we go through this video is that I cannot just choose one book. I have one book for some categories, but some I have up to 4. So yeah, I have 2 favorite reads so far this year. And so my first favorite read of this year comes as no surprise to anyone who has watched any of my other videos. This is Quarterback Sneak by Candy Steiner. This is a hate to love coach's daughter college football romance, NFL football. The one thing you will learn about me is that my favorite books are either so trashy but I have the time of my life, or they are a literary masterpiece. Now I'm not sure where this one falls on that scale, but I had to rate this one a 5-star when I related to the characters so much. I related to them on such a deep level. I felt like I had such a personal connection to this book, and that's something that I feel like I don't have happen that often with the books that I read. So it was just, I had to give this one 5 stars, and it was also the first book I've read of the year, so it really kicked my year off to a good start and kind of made it hard for anything else to top it. And then my other favorite read of this year is actually one that I've read recently. This is of course Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. I feel like this one is going to be on so many people's lists, but I think it deserves to be there. I really do. I had the time of my life with this one. It really like almost gave me nostalgia and reawakened that part of myself that absolutely loved the like 2010s dystopian fantasy world. So yeah, I had a really good time with this one. I gave it 5 stars. Cannot wait for the next one, and that is a prompt that is coming soon after where I'll talk a little bit more about it. But yeah, I love this book so much. It's just so good. And our next prompt is for the best sequel that I have read in 2023, and this one has to go to none other than Crimson River by Devney Perry. This is the 5th book in the Eden series, and this one I think is by far my favorite. Devney Perry is honestly just like the queen of romantic suspense. I will admit her books are either like very hit and miss for me. Some of them I absolutely love, like Crimson River, Indigo Ridge and Juniper Hill, my favorites of hers of all time, whereas Garnier Flats and Jasper Vale, but yeah, this one, it felt like the series was kind of coming back to its roots with a murder mystery. There's a sheriff with a tarnished badge who kind of stumbles into town and is on the hunt for this guy, and Lila, our heroine, has kind of had a little bit of a run-in with the murderer, and so her and Vance, our hero, that is such a hot name, they kind of end up working together and like trying to hunt this guy down, and yeah, it's really fun. I love this book so much, and it is definitely the spiciest of Devney's that I've read so far. The next prompt is is for a new release that I haven't had the chance to read yet, but want to. Now, I was gonna talk about one book in specific for this one, but I've actually already stormed my way through it, and that is Meet Your Match by Candy Steiner. This one came out like 4 days ago at the point of filming, and I'm already... this is how much I have left. So I feel like I can't really talk about this one anymore, but yeah, I'm very, very happy to have read this one. I'm loving Vince. Less so loving Maven, but I'm really, really excited to see where the rest of this series goes because it is hockey and Candy is just such a talented author, honestly. Now, 2 actual new releases that I haven't had the chance to read yet. The first one is Into the Tide by Laura Pavlov. This one is a small town brother's best friend romance. I've tried reading Always Mine by Laura before, and it was a bit... I don't know, I just couldn't really get into it. It felt like a very if I say scripted, it's a book, of course it's scripted, but it felt very like stage play, like the characters didn't really feel like they were having a proper conversation. So I'm hoping it's a little bit better in this one. The premise of the story is a lot more intriguing to me because brother's best friend. So yeah, I'm excited to get into this one nonetheless, and I love the cover so much. And then my other new release, which I'm probably actually going to start after I finish Meet Your Match, is Forbidden Hearts by Corinne Michaels. This one is a age gap nanny romance, I think. He's a single dad, and like he also works under her dad because he's a police officer, but her dad is like sheriff or something. I don't know how it works. But yeah, so there's gonna be some delicious tension in this one, a lot of forbiddenness, as the title says. Cannot wait to get into it. Hopefully I like it, and hopefully I find myself a new favorite author. The next prompt I've hinted at a few times already in this video, but that is the most anticipated release for the remainder of 2023. Of course, at the top of my list is Iron Flame by Rebecca Yarros. Fourth thing, it didn't leave on the biggest cliffhanger, but I love the world so much and I'm obsessed with the characters, so I really cannot wait to get into that next book and continue the series. I'm really, really hoping she like keeps up a regular publishing schedule for this series, because I'm pretty sure it's going to be a 5-book, I keep saying series so much, but a 5-book series, and I don't think I can wait like over 6 months for the next one. So yeah, I'm really, really excited for Iron Flame. I can't wait to see where it goes. And then again, I might be mistaken, but I think Sable Peak by Devney Perry is coming out later this year. It's the final book in the Eden series. It's Mateo's book. Mateo has been a favorite of mine since the very beginning, so I'm really, really excited for his story. Then I also think Candy Steiner is bringing out the next book in the Kings of the Ice series after Meet Your Match, which I'm very excited for that one as well. I'm pretty sure the next one in the Kings of the Ice series by Candy Steiner is gonna be brother's best friend between our current hero's little sister and one of his teammates, which it's gonna be amazing. I can't wait to read it. And then the one after that is a grumpy dad, a grumpy goalie dad. Absolutely, sign me up right now. Oh my god, and we're going from a very big high to a very low low. The next prompt is the biggest disappointments that I've read so far this year, and I feel so bad doing this, but I do have 4 books that aren't necessarily bad. I think I just had too high of expectations for, which meant that they ended up being like ultimately pretty disappointing. The first book is Puckshy by Tegan Hunter. This one, it has a very cool concept. It starts with them like, she picks him up off the side of the road after his car breaks down, which do not do that in real life. But in the book, like, obviously it's gonna have a happy ending because it's a romance, so it's fine, and it's not dark romance, so we're chill. But yeah, this one, it had a pretty cool concept, but the car road trip thing was over within like 10% of the book, and then the characters just felt so two-dimensional, and it just felt like Tegan was trying to shove every single plot point known to man into this book, and it didn't hit for me. But I might try her again because her writing's very, very easy for me to read. But yeah, I didn't like this one. The next book is actually a novella. I had such high hopes for this because it follows my all-time 2 favorite people, my favorite couple ever, the first couple that I like really, really fell in love with in the romance scene, and that is Birthday Kisses. This is like an epilogue novella to A Million Kisses in Your Lifetime by Monica Murphy. This one, I was expecting so much more. I really wanted the like toxicity that is Ren and Crew, but all we got was like pregnancy and babies, and Crew gave her like more makeup or something or artwork, and it didn't hit. And I really, really wish epilogues and novellas were just not like apple pie lives. Like, I don't need the pregnancy and marriage. Just show me the characters in their everyday life, living it up. Like, oh yeah, This one was a disappointment, but I still love them. So I feel so bad doing this category, but it's like, it's part of the challenge, it's part of the tag, so I'm just gonna do it. But the next book that was most disappointing for me this year was Whispers of You by Catherine Cowles. This is a romantic suspense, small town. I had such high hopes for this one, and even until the kind of 50% point in this book, I still had really high hopes. I was loving it, and then the mystery unfolded and I was very unsatisfied, and the hero just, I really did not like the hero. I felt like he was not redeemed, because this is a second chance romance as well. I felt like he was not redeemed at all, and I just didn't like his character. The wheels just kind of fell off at the 50% mark, at least for me. I know some people absolutely love this, but I definitely want to try another Catherine Cowles book that potentially isn't second chance, because I think I might like them. And finally, oh my god, I feel so bad, please don't get mad at me, the last one that I have been disappointed by this year. I don't think this is so much as a fault of the book. I think this is just me having too high expectations. But this is Mile High by Liz Tomford. I absolutely adored the characters in this book, and I think the plot had so much potential. But the writing just got so bland and repetitive, and the sex scenes really got quite cringy. They icked me out pretty bad at times, and I ended up just like skimming them. I feel so bad. I'm still definitely gonna read The Right Move and see if that one's an improvement, but yeah, I didn't like Mile High. All right, moving swiftly on, we are gonna go into the biggest surprise that I have read so far this year, and that would have to go to The Words by Ashley Jade by A. Jade. This one, I thought I was firmly out of my rockstar romance era. Like, I thought I abandoned that 5 years ago when I left Wattpad, but this reignited the flame, baby. It was so good, so toxic. It is a second chance romance. The first part of the book, they're in high school and she tutors him. They end up in a little bit of a like friends with benefits. There's feelings, but like it's just tricky, and they go their separate ways. And then she comes back into his life 4 years later when he is a massive established rock star, and just the toxicity, the unrequited feelings. And this book is thick as but when I tell you I flew through it in like 2 or 3 days, it was like I was just inhaling it, like there was crack laced in these pages. I could not stop flipping it through it. Alrighty, the next prompt is for my favorite new author. Now I have several, once again. My number one new favorite author would probably be Asa Varelli. I have read Reaper and Crow from her Boston Underworld series, which is on my shelf up there. I just didn't get them down. But yeah, I love those books so much. They gave me very much Cora Riley Mafia vibes, which until those 2 books, I'd searched far and wide and really hard and had failed every time to find something similar. So I'm really glad that I found them. I definitely want to continue the series at some point, but I also have Kingdom Fall by Asa Varelli as well, which I really want to get into because I think it's going to be fantastic. Then total opposite end of the spectrum is Kat Singleton. I read Rewrite Our Story earlier this year and absolutely loved it. It is going to be on my favorites list at the end of the year. It was so good. 5 stars. I loved the like brothers best friend and the dual timeline. It was just so good, and I really cannot wait for the next in the series. I have looked at Kat's backlist, but I think I'm just gonna wait for the next one in the Sutton Mountain series, because Black Ties and White Lies especially I don't think is gonna be for me, just given that it's an office romance and a billionaire romance, and those 2 things I don't really like. So yeah, I'm just gonna wait for the next small town release from her, and then hopefully she will remain one of my favorite authors. And then lastly, this one is cheating a little bit because I actually discovered this author last year, but it is Devney Perry. As I said, I started reading her books last year, but this year she has really become one of my favorite authors. I've read every book minus the novellas in the Eden series and rated them all above 3.5 stars, and I've just had a pretty good time with all of them except Garnet Flats. That one was a bit iffy. But yeah, I've loved the rest of the series. I love her kind of pacing and her style of writing. I think it's very easy, but it's still like engaging, and so I want to start her, is it like Calamity Montana or something? It's the small town romance series that she writes under Willa Nash for, which I think means it's a little bit spicier than the Edens. I'm not quite sure about that, but yeah, I have the first book to that and I really want to get into it. Really want to read some more of her backlist because I can definitely see her becoming one of my faves. Oh, this next one, it's my newest fictional crush. I have 3. Are you surprised? No. So the first one is, of course, Xaden from Fourth Wing. That man... Oh. And the fact that he's in my age range as well just like makes it so much sweeter, because I think he's only 23 or something. So it's like when you see someone your age at the airport, and just because they're your age and at the airport, they're hot. I don't know if that makes sense, but yeah, Xaden, he is my shadow daddy. And then following that suit is Reese from the Akatar series. I'm currently reading Akamath and I love him already. He really has the like Xaden vibes down to a T, and I know he came first, but like I read Xaden first. So it's kind of nice. And then lastly is one that I discovered very, very recently, and it is Enzo from Does It Hurt? Now, I know a lot of you are probably expecting Zaid from Haunting Adeline if I was going to choose one of H.D. Carlton's men, but Enzo just like hits a little bit differently. I'm not terrified that he's going to kill me in my sleep. Yeah, and then like the fact that he researches sharks and he lives dangerously, but he's still like a normal man. He's not a like serial killer whose only redeeming trait is the fact that he saves women and children. All three of those men really are the same, but in different fonts. Hey, do I have a type? Yes, but only in books. I would run away from those men screaming if they came at me in real life. Okay, moving on. The next prompt is for my newest favorite character. Now, this is a really, really tricky one because, as I said earlier when I was talking about Quarterback Snake, I don't really connect to characters on a very deep level. Obviously, I love Julep and Holden from Quarterback Snake. These two, I just have not found a connection to any other characters like I did in this book, so they are most definitely up there. And Holden in his little garden with his little cucumber patch. Oh, stop it. Oh my god. A hot man who gardens? Absolutely, I will gobble that up. Thank you very much. And if I were to choose another character, because I can't have just one, it would be Violet from Fourth Wing, because I just really enjoyed the fact that her character, she's like a very stereotypically weak character, and she has a disability, I think, to do with connective tissue, which I'm not going to try and pronounce because I will butcher it, but if I can find it, I'll put it on the screen. But yeah, she's like a very stereotypically, very classically weak character, and that leads to her having to use her intelligence a lot. And I really enjoy that she took her time to kind of think through situations. Even after she had her dragon and her powers, she still took her time to think through scenarios and actually like act and think logically, which I really like. Oh my god, okay, I hate to do this to you, but I'm going to talk about the same book once again. The next prompt is a book that made me cry. Fourth Wing, there is a scene in this that had me crying like a little baby. I was sobbing my eyes out. I was bawling. I am praying that there is a solution in some of the future books because my heart, Rebecca really ripped my heart out, chucked it on the footpath, stomped on it, ran it over with a steamroller, and then just like left me bawling on the street. I don't know what I'm talking about, but all that is to say this book emotionally ruined me. And another one that didn't make me cry nearly that hard is Rewrite a Story by Kat Singleton. There is a moment in this book where it's very emotionally charged, and there's just a big like unveiling, a big reveal where I just really pulled at my heartstrings, and there was a few sneaky little tears rolling down my cheeks. And once again, we are swinging to the total opposite end of the spectrum with a book that made you happy, and this one has to go to Ignite by Melanie Harlow. This is a small town single dad romance. They're neighbors, and it's such a like wholesome, fuzzy, warm feeling read, if that makes sense. There is a third act breakup, but like his groveling, it made it like all worth it. And speaking of pretty books, the next prompt is the most beautiful book that I have bought this year, and I have a few. So I have maybe four books that have the prettiest covers that I've ever seen in my life that I bought this year. The first one is of course Rewrite a Story by Kat Singleton. I just love the amount of detail that went into this cover. The non-discreet people version is also beautiful. I would love to have that one in my hot little hands as well, but this one is just so gorgeous, and my tabs match it, which makes me like even more obsessed. Next is Say You Swear by Megan Brandy. This is probably one of my all-time favorite book covers because I just love the colors so much, and then the fact we have a football and flowers, and just it's so pretty, and I just love the colorway of it. I think it's gorgeous. Then we have another one which is very similar to Say You Swear. I definitely have a type when it comes to book covers. This is Midnight Kisses by Janine Benedict. I also loved this book so much. It's like 500 pages of sports romance erotica. It's great. But yeah, Midnight Kisses, I love this book so much. I also love the cover. I don't know quite what it is about it. I think it's because the flowers are little. They're like gangly, but they still have big petals, and the petals over the words, and then the colors. and just so pretty. Like, and the fact it's matte as well, I absolutely love. Oh my god. So Midnight Kisses usually sits right here on my shelf, and I've just realized that Ice Planet Barbarians has been sitting face out this entire video. Let's not talk about it. Let's move on. Let's not talk about it. And my final book for a cover that I absolutely love that I bought this year is actually Daughter of No Worlds by Carissa Broadbent. I know some people don't like this cover, but I think it is just so gorgeous. I think it's very, very like stereotypical fantasy, but it's just this gal, she's badass, she's swinging her sword around, and I really like it, and I can appreciate the art behind it, I suppose. I don't know, I just really like it, and the color scheme and the dress, and it's just great. And finally, the last prompt is a book that I really need to read by the end of the year, and I really don't want to jinx myself like I have on The Wool of Winnipeg and Me, because I told myself I was going to read that book for like every month for a year straight, and I still didn't get to it. I still haven't read it. But the book slash series that I really want to get to by the end of the year is of course the Boys of Tommen's series, Binding 13. I have a feeling that once I actually properly start this book, I'm gonna fly through all 4 books, probably dedicate like a whole month to them. But yeah, this one I really need to get to by the end of the year, because I feel like I've missed the hype train, so there's not as much pressure, but I'm also like, I want to know what the fuss is about, and I want to get back in the like, I'm not even back in because I haven't read a rugby romance, but I want to read a rugby romance. Maybe I'll get there when it's like grand final season for rugby league. Anyway, yeah, I really want to read Binding 13 by Chloe Walsh before the end of the year. Alrighty, and that is all of the books that I have for this mid-year freakout, mid-year wrap-up, whatever the hell this is. I don't even know what I'm going to title it. Yeah, that's everything that I have to talk about. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, follow my Bookstagram and my threads, because I like to ask questions and like get prompts and stuff and ideas for videos over on those 2 platforms. And yeah, I really hope you enjoyed this video, and I will hopefully see you in the next one. Bye!